Well, hello and welcome to the 2018 Cycling Australia Elite Track Cycling Championships here in Brisbane. We're at the Annette Velodrome. Kate Bates, 2007 World Points Race champion alongside me. We've got a big night of racing, 4 nights for the championships. This is night 1 here on the Annette Velodrome, and it's a bit of a prelude to what's coming up in only a matter of weeks now, which is the Commonwealth Games on this particular velodrome. And we start off with some team pursuits and some interesting names in them, Kate.
Absolutely. We've got some of Australia's brightest stars out on track today. The Annodrome, I believe, is what it's actually been called, Scott. And first up, we have the final, the gold medal ride-off for the Under-19 Women's Teams Pursuit. That's New South Wales heading through the front straight now. And they're riding against Victoria.
Victoria the fastest in the qualifying, and they really did hold it together very well, the Victorians, to come away as the fastest riders. And I guess the favourites to take out the Under-19 Women's Team Pursuit team, New South Wales, starting in the back straight. A little bit messy off the start there, so you can see Victoria really just getting into formation very quickly, and they also have a real wild card, a real standout rider in amongst their mix with Sarah Gigante, who won 3 of 3 gold medals at the Cycling Australia Road Cycling Championships only a matter of weeks ago. So she's taken her road legs off, she's put her track legs on, and she's flying around the boards here at the Annette Velodrome.
And we also have Emily Watts from New South Wales. She's also had some good, strong results on the road. She comes from a triathlon background, but she's loving being out here on the track, and she's actually carrying the baton for the Queen's Commonwealth Games relay. She's heading back to Bathurst to do that for the day tomorrow. So
good surname for cycling as well, Kate. Watts. It's all about power and data output, but at the moment they're not putting out enough watts. Is New South Wales, and you can see Victoria are going to take the gold medal. There's still 11 laps to travel, but they want to set a good time. So hopefully they have told the officials, you heard the gun go off then, so they don't have to continue. They've decided they won't. So they've caught the team who was on the other side of the track very early on, so they do become the gold medal winners here tonight in the Women's Under-19 Team Pursuit, beating New South Wales. Now, technically, if you think you're going to catch the other team and you really want to go out and set yourself a good time, you have to let the chief commissaire or the race officials know that you want to go for a time, and then they don't fire the gun and you're allowed to continue to post a time. Wasn't really the goal tonight for them. They just wanted the gold medal, so they've done that nice and easy, and they can recover for the next events now. Well,
interesting decision. Very often these events at a national title are used actually for selection for Junior World Championships, so I'm quite surprised Victoria didn't carry on to do a time. Having said that, it's a big week ahead. They've got individual events left to come. They don't want to accumulate too much fatigue, but 3 laps, I think that's possibly the shortest team's pursuit I've ever seen.
More team sprint than team pursuit, wasn't it? But next event coming out onto the track now, and this is the bronze medal ride between New South Wales and Western Australia. So two teams from New South Wales were represented in this competition. So good to see lots of young riders coming out as well to ride.
So it should be noted that this is women and under-19 women. Some of the teams are only under-19, some of the teams are a combination. This New South Wales team going for the bronze has world champion Ashley Ann Kudinoff. She's been world champion in the team's pursuit. She's also been a medalist in the individual pursuit at World Championship level. Josie Talbot and Nicola McDonald have achieved fairly impressive results as juniors at World Championship level as well. So they are quite a strong team. Western Australia,
they're in the back straight, lining up Western Australia. New South Wales in the front straight. Western Australia with Megan Gammy, Zoe Clayton, Emma Lendrum and Laura Hodges, the 4 riders lining up for Western Australia. They're all ready to go in the back straight, as you can see. New South Wales still getting themselves organised. 46 seconds now until the start goes. So they need to get themselves hurriedly into position, focus and get ready for the start.
And there was quite a significant difference in their qualifying. 4:32 was the time of the New South Wales team, 4:59 the time of the West Australian team. We might see another catch early on if New South Wales decide to go out hard and not pursue a time.
New South Wales a little bit unlucky considering they were only 1 second behind the second fastest team, so that put them into 3rd place. They should come away with the bronze medal in this particular ride now. And that's Ashley Ann Kudinoff leading them away as part of the Australian Team Pursuit squad. very strong squad of ladies that have been developed over a number of years, a good decade now, even back from when you were in the squad yourself, Kate Bates. And Ash, you know very well, she's been a real, I guess, a bit of a Trojan at the way that she's been in and out of the squad a little bit and had to force herself in a few times. She made the Rio squad, didn't get to race at the games to the level that she was hoping for, but it's great to see her back on the boards and going towards Tokyo, perhaps.
Oh, she's one of the strongest riders we have. I think Commonwealth Games is first on the cards for her. She's an incredibly strong and powerful rider. She's struggled with some back injury over the time because she's so powerful. She's often the starter, as she was here, very smooth, taking the New South Wales team out to a good start. They look like quite a good compact squad, but quite a short turn happening there. Some of the riders, some of the strategy, Scott, they'll do longer turns, they'll do shorter turns. All that really matters is the 3 get over the line. They don't need all 4 riders. The time is taken off the 3rd rider to cross the line.
4,000 metres, 16 laps of this 250-metre velodrome here in Brisbane, the Annemiers Velodrome. Team Pursuit for the women was 3 kilometres for a long time when it was first introduced to the program at national and international level. It's since gone to 4 kilometres, far better for the riders to race over 4 kilometres, and you can already see in the sights of New South Wales is the team of Western Australia. So they know they're going to get the bronze medal here. It's really a matter of trying to look good in front of national selectors as well.
Well, New South Wales is in the same bend now as the Western Australian team. They can see them. They're just a sniff away. The question remains whether they will continue for a time or whether they will simply catch and sit up.
It's a bit tricky sometimes when teams catch other teams, and if the team in front hasn't been made aware that the faster team is catching them, it can get a little bit tricky. We have seen crashes happen when the faster team tries to go around the outside. Fingers crossed, touch wood, that doesn't happen now, but you can see West Australia really just starting to struggle a little bit and getting messy. New South Wales still going on with it though, so the gun has been fired. They are the bronze medalists here at the National Championships, but they want to post a fast time, so they're continuing on to complete the distance.
A great ride from New South Wales. Very tight, compact team. They worked very well on their skills. It's very important that they remain in a very tight formation. The tighter formation, Scott, the more aerodynamic they are, the easier it is, the more recovery that the riders get. Once they swing off and swing to the back of the team, as you can see, as they swing up the bend there, they just slip into the back to recover for a number of laps. The Western Australian team clearing off the track.
Talking about the skill level, Team Pursuit, it looks reasonably straightforward, but we know at the high speeds that they're travelling, some of the good riders that have come from individual pursuit or from the road back to the track really struggle at these speeds with the skills that they need to be relaxed and fast.
Well, a good rider makes it look like it's pretty easy.
Yes.
A bad Team Pursuit rider doesn't. It is a skill that needs to really be acquired, and the women have not had a Team Pursuit event for all that long. Back in 2008 for those Olympics, they did not have a Team Pursuit at all, in fact. And so it's been quite a progression. For the men, there's a lot of history in this event, but for the women it's a little bit more modern. They've done an exceptional job of upskilling, but a lot of these women would have trained with the men's squads. Oh, and she hits a foam. And Kudnoff
just clip the foam at the bottom of the track, and that is to make sure that the riders do stay up on the boards themselves. The blue band at the bottom of the track, or the light blue band, technically known as the duck board, is not officially part of the track. You're not allowed to ride down on that light blue band. That's why they put the foam strips out. There was a flat tyre in one of the earlier races in the men's elite Team Pursuit. Cam Scott had a rear puncture which caused a crash. Nick Euloris, his teammate, went down in that particular incident. But 1 lap to go. Bronze medal is assured, but some bragging rights as well, because they were the 3rd fastest in qualifying New South Wales, but only 1 second behind Queensland. So they'll get the bronze medal now. They'll be looking at the final to come and to see if they can post a better time. And
4:32 was the time they posted in qualifying this morning. It'll be close. Oh, marginally faster. 4:32.8 this morning, 4:32.010 tonight for the New South Wales quartet of Ashley Ann Kudnoff, Josie Talbot, Chloe Heffernan, and of course Nicola McDonald.
They'll be happy with that. Faster in the final, which is not unusual. It's often the case, especially with the state teams, when they don't get that often to train and prepare together. We're just looking at that last bend now as they're coming around. So slightly faster than they did in qualifying. They'll be eagerly looking to see if Queensland, perhaps in particular, go slower in the final, and they'll get some bragging rights, even though they come away with the bronze medal in New South Wales. Interesting final, though. South Australia up against Queensland. South Australia, the fastest qualifiers in 4 minutes, 27 seconds, 0.4. And that's Brianna Hargrave, Annette Edmondson, Alexandra Manley, and Maeve Plouffe. So 4 riders that are regulars on the national scene, and Manley and Edmondson regulars on the international scene, both world medalists in the past.
And we've got the Queensland team. We've got Christina Clonan, Katrin Garfoot, who is National Road Time Trial Champion, has been National Road Race Champion, and arguably one of the most in-form female cyclists over the summer, performing exceptionally well at the Tour Down Under and the National Championships. Alexandra Martin Wallace, one of our up-and-comers, and Laurelie Moss, adding a little bit of experience to
winner
the
of
squad.
the Cycling Australia Masters Award only 2 months ago. So a bit of youth with experience in the Queensland team, and all eyes looking at Katrin Garfoot in particular because of her road credentials. She was only racing this week on the road, the Cadell Evans Great Ocean Road Race, Herald Sun Tour, and then up here to Queensland where she lives. She lives on the Gold Coast. We're here in Brisbane, and she's the one on the back straight, the right-hand side of the screen. She's at the top of the track in the yellow helmet that identifies Katrin Garfoot.
Both teams off to a clean start. Brianna Hargrave leads the South Australian team out of the blocks.
Well, Hargrave, ex-sprinter, making the transition at somewhat of a mature age, in her 30s now, across to the endurance ranks. And Annette Edmondson, her teammate, did exactly the same thing. Started out as a sprinter and then has gone across to endurance and been incredibly successful, winning multiple world championships and so many Australian championships. 15 gold medals at the national championships that Annette Edmondson has won.
The riders will come through with 14 laps to go, having completed 2 laps of the 16 laps, 4 kilometres, 250 metres per lap. Both teams are looking very smooth, very compact. Brianna Hargrave, you mentioned, she actually won the time trial at the national championships last year, 500 metres. So this will be a little bit more taxing for her this evening, but a lot of athletes have made that transition from sprint to endurance.
Opposite ends of the spectrum, isn't it? The 500-metre time trial compared to what doesn't seem so long, such a long distance, but a 4,000-metre team pursuit really is an event. And for a 500-metre time trialist to do well, it's a big ask, but she's certainly doing very well here. Slightly up on Queensland. There was 4 seconds difference in them in the qualifying. But I tell you what, Queensland doing a very good job. That was Katrin Garfoot in the yellow helmet that did her turn of pace, swung up, getting the skills, almost fast-tracking her skills to try and get up to speed and get some recovery. And I tell you what, Queensland is starting to come back in South Australia now.
Well, there's no question that Kat Garfoot, with that horsepower, that she definitely has the engine. It's whether she has the skills in the team's pursuit, but they're riding very smoothly, both teams so far, and they're starting to run even. Roughly even. South Australia is slightly up, but with 9 laps to go. Well, the competition's on, Scott.
Like, I look down to the start line, just when they come past there, Brett Aitken, my former teammate, was just willing the South Australians on, really waving his arms, telling them to get going. I know he's nervous. Queensland are doing a ride that was not expected after the qualifying. South Australia do seem to be in control at the moment, but Queensland are not laying down.
And they've just come through the halfway mark. South Australia has gone out. They've listened to Brett Aitken and his instructions. You would have seen him he's motioned his hands, Scott, as in, give me a little bit more.
Well, they've responded as well. They're down to 3 riders. Hargrave has pulled out. She pulled out in qualifying as well. But they do seem to be in a controlling position now. Only 3 riders for South Australia, but they can see Queensland just around the track.
South Australia has really lifted the pace significantly in the last couple of laps. 2 laps ago, Scott, they went past and they were almost even. South Australia is significantly up. They're coming into the bend now. As Queensland exits the bend, they'll be able to see them. And once you have them in sight, it's like a greyhound chasing.
Well, Queensland went out nice and fast to try and put some pressure on South Australia, but to no avail because the South Australians have really just got together now and they're not slowing down at all. Queensland, it's more of Queensland decelerating rather than South Australia accelerating towards the end here. 3 laps to go.
Kat Garfoot on the front now. But the South Australian team has the horsepower of Annette Edmondson and Alexandra Manley, both national team members. They've both had very strong summers. Annette Edmondson, she won the race towards zero in Melbourne last week, the criterium. She won stage 1 of the Tour Down Under. She's definitely on form. And the South Australian team are not holding back. They can see Queensland just up ahead. If they catch them before the finish, it is game over. They're coming around with 2 laps to go.
Queensland just getting a little bit messy now.
Scott, the South Australians are starting to break up. We need all 3 to cross the line together. Well, this is a bit messy out on track now.
Well, they've got the gold. They've caught Queensland, so South Australia take gold. They've been given the bell as well. They're going to try and push on to pick up a time now, but the time is really irrelevant now. It's all over the track. They're struggling to get round Queensland, and they've now decided we've had enough. We've got our gold medal. Let's leave it at that. There's still 3 nights of competition to come, but gold to South Australia over the top of Queensland. And great to see the experienced road cyclist in Katrin Garfoot coming on to the boards here in Queensland to pick up a silver medal for Queensland.
And the clock did actually stop at 4:28, which is marginally slower than this morning, but they sat up with 3/4 of a lap to go, so a lot faster this evening. They were on a good schedule, the South Australians. At the last World Cup, the international teams, the USA won the last World Cup in a 4:17. So they're not too far off the pace for a state team at a national championships. And a strong ride from the Queenslanders.
For Annette Edmondson.
Just another one.
That takes it to 16, total of 16 national championships.
She'll have to get a new trophy cabinet at this rate.
The challenge of the state team pursuit teams is the experienced riders like Annette Edmondson, Alexandra Manley, coming together with some of the younger or less experienced riders that don't have the benefit of riding in part of our national program, our high performance unit. So getting that balance right, and we see that in the men's competition as well. When we see the elite men come out later on, our world champions are dispersed amongst several of the states, which has made it very even competition.
Which is good to see. For a number of years, a lot of the world champions that we had, the state team looked like the national team. Made it very difficult for the other states to be competitive in any regard. The women raced 3 kilometres for a long time. They're now racing 4 kilometres, the same distance as the men. The event's not at the same stage of maturity that the under-19 men and the men have. Well, we've got a bit of history in the men's teams pursuit in the under-19. I remember the South Australian team, Scott, with Luke Roberts and Tim Lyons back in the day that actually broke the world record as a state team for South Australia.
Well, South Australia certainly have a very strong history, and that is where the Australian High Performance Unit is based. And they do get the benefit of the experience with coaches and the influence that happens around the Adelaide Velodrome. And it's been very much to the benefit of South Australia. The men's under-19 team pursuit now on the line. And this is the bronze medal ride. New South Wales up against South Australia. New South Wales in the front straight on the left, and in the back straight it is South Australia. Lining up for New South Wales is Lynch, Gandy, Hayden Smith and Ether. And South Australia, Saunders, Thomas, Walker and White. This is South Australia just coming around now, half a lap in, trying to get themselves as quickly up to speed as possible and staying nice and tight. The 4th rider for South Australia just off the wheel a little bit now, coming up onto the back wheel of the 3rd rider. He can just try and settle in, save some energy and get ready for his turn of pace.
Well, there was a 5-second differential in qualifying. New South Wales rode a 4:13.114, South Australia a 4:18.757. But this evening it's South Australia that's off to a cracking start. They've been out of the blocks quick. They've got about a 1-second advantage over the New South Wales team.
Well, trying to throw it out there. New South Wales, you would think, clearly the favourites, riding a 4:13 compared to the 4:18 for South Australia. We'll see how that plays out, that tactic. Going out nice and hard early could come back to bite them towards the end of the race. New South Wales looking very tight in formation. South Australia going down the back straight. This is New South Wales now coming through.
They've gone through their first kilometre. South Australia in a 1:05. New South Wales 1.1 seconds behind. This is a surprise to have the South Australian team start so quickly.
Well up on New South Wales at the moment, South Australia. Might have been holding back a little bit too much in qualifying. We'll see. There's still a long way to go. little bit over 2.5 kilometres left to race. And New South Wales just now starting to come back. So New South Wales easing into the event a little bit better perhaps than South Australia. They go down the back straight. South Australia in the front straight. It was New South Wales starting in the front. It was South Australia starting in the back.
And both teams have a very tight formation. The South Australian team, a few gaps starting to open between the wheels. They have started significantly harder and faster than we imagined their team, but they are toe-to-toe with New South Wales. Coach's instructions. Coach looks calm in the front straight.
Well, 8 laps in, halfway. 2:08 for the halfway point.
Both teams within 0.2 of a second. New South Wales has clawed back a full second in that last kilometre. 2 kilometres left to run. And South Australia is starting to look a little bit messy. Some big gaps opening up. We do need 3 to cross the line together. We don't want that front rider taking too much of a gap. It doesn't allow rider number 2 to recover for when the first rider swings up and allows that turn. But as you can see, the gaps are opening up. I think South Australia started a little bit too hard. Scott burned a few too many matches in the first half.
Well, New South Wales just then got themselves back in front, but very, very narrow margin it is at the moment. So South Australia certainly put in a great performance, but New South Wales just starting to get the train rolling now. Looking nice and tight in formation as well. South Australia still coming through, starting to lose a little bit more time now. They'll get 4 laps to go this time, so just coming to the 3 kilometre point. New South Wales down to 3 riders, 3:10.3 for the 3K mark. Still only 0.5 of a second, and now New South Wales down to 3 riders.
So it's a tight race out there. South Australia still have 4 riders. A few gaps opening up, a significant gap between second and third. This is bad news for South Australia. They need to just slow down a little bit, get that group back together. New South Wales with 3 riders, but starting to charge ahead.
Oh, that hurts. That looks painful. You can see the rider in third wheel really struggling, spending a couple of laps now, a few lengths off the wheel, digging deep. He is in a lot of pain, and that is now to the benefit of New South Wales.
New South Wales have pulled significantly ahead. South Australia in a bit of trouble. That first rider is just a little bit ahead, but they've gone through with the bell, and New South Wales have a very clear advantage, just over half a second ahead of the South Australian team, but that's the first South Australian rider.
Well, the first South Australian rider might get to the line first, but it's the time taken on the third rider, and it will be New South Wales that come away with the bronze medal. South Australia just getting a little bit messy and uncomfortable towards the end.
But a brilliant time, Scott. 4:11.760 for New South Wales. South Australia only 0.8 behind, a significant improvement for them. That's a 4:12 for South Australia. Yeah, that's impressive. No wonder they looked a bit messy. I think they were probably really pushing their limits there, but a great time from New South Wales. Great time for a bronze medal for a state junior team. 4:11.
Faster than the fastest qualifier this morning. Queensland 4:12.4 in qualifying. And now New South Wales getting the bronze medal in a quicker time again. So that's quite significant. And hats off to South Australia for really coming back and taking 7 seconds off their time from qualifying. So bronze medal to New South Wales. Now we're on to the gold medal ride. Queensland versus Victoria.
And this is going to be an absolute cracker. There was just 0.17 seconds between both of these teams in qualifying this morning.
Nothing, Kate. There is no gap between these two.
There is nothing. It will be a real showdown tonight. Queensland in the front straight. They rode this morning a 4:12.419. Victoria in the back straight with a 4:12.592.
Lining up for Queensland, Blake Quick, which is the appropriate name for this, as they'll be going fast around this track than Elliot Schultz, James Moriarty, Ethan Viviers. So the 4 Queenslanders lining up right on screen there in the front straight. And just want to point out the handler for Queensland, second from the top, just walking down off the track now in the maroon colours. That is Kenrick Tucker. I have to mention him because he was one of my idols growing up as a former Queenslander a long time ago. And Kenrick Tucker, one of the greatest sprinters Australia has ever had.
Once a Queenslander, always a Queenslander, former Queenslander. In the back straight for Victoria, we have Graham Frisley, Jensen Plowright, Luke Plapp and Bill Simpson lining up.
Defending champions, Victoria. They've been quite dominant in this particular event, the under-19 men's team pursuit. I think they've won 6 out of the last 10 team pursuits at national level. Jensen Plowright, the only rider from that gold medal winning team from last year. Queensland versus Victoria.
Queensland off to a smooth and strong start. All 4 riders falling into formation very quickly. Victoria a little bit more frantic their start, but also settling down to pace now.
The crowd will get behind Queensland here.
Oh, a few messy moments with the Victorian team. They're almost clashing wheels. But the Queensland team, they're looking very smooth.
Both teams looking very good, nice and early on. Quite smooth, good formation.
So they've come through with 2 laps in. Queensland are 0.2 behind Victoria. We do expect a very tight race to be run here. Only 0.17 of a second between them this morning in qualifying. And there's only 0.02 between them, Scott, as they come through after 3 laps heading into their first kilometre. This first kilometre split will be interesting. 0.02, that really is nothing. That is a hair right there.
Nothing at the 1K mark. 105.6, 0.19 separating the 2 teams. So Queensland slightly out in front, riding to form. But we don't know. The Victorians, they've got a lot of pride at this one. They've been so dominant at the under-19 Team Pursuit level.
They're on a similar schedule so far for that first kilometre that we just saw the South Australian team go out in the ride for bronze. They finished in a 4:11. So they went reasonably quickly. 4:12 was the fastest qualifier from the Queensland team this morning. Both teams still within half a second. Queensland a slight advantage.
Just looking at the coaches on the inside of the track, because they are the ones that give us an indication of just how fast the teams are riding, the schedules that they've been set before the event. And if the coaches are standing after the line, the start-finish line, we know that they're up on their schedule and riding fast. If they get to the coach before the start-finish line, you can see now the Queensland coach is to the right-hand side of the line, so the Queenslanders are up. They're being told that. They're going fast. They're going to dig deep. They want to win gold on home soil. Certainly not going to be an easy task, though, because Victoria are starting to come back. Their coach, Glenn Downey, is really encouraging them to get going.
There's only 0.33 of a second between these 2 teams. They're in the final third of the race.
6 laps to go this time. So getting right down to it. 0.08 of a second now. Victoria starting to come back at Queensland. Queensland slightly in front the entire way, but now Victoria really starting to get on top of things.
Queensland are looking very, very neat. You can hardly tell all 4 riders apart. 0.05 as they come through on that lap. That is barely anything.
Well, the big V taken to the Queenslanders, just getting themselves out in front.
And their coaches, that's David Betts for Queensland in the front straight. Just flapping his arms around, telling the boys they've got to get going. There is absolutely nothing in this.
Not much more the coaches can do. They're telling the riders just to give it absolutely everything now. It's so close. Queensland down to 3 riders, 0.5 of a second down on Victoria. Victoria coming around to get 2.5 laps to go.
It's the biggest margin we've seen so far, 0.54 of a second. The Queenslanders, they really need to lift and rally now. Their coach, they're certainly giving them, but Glenn Downey, his team, they're looking great. The 4 of the riders are still together. They'll come round to receive the bell. 1
lap to go now for Victoria. Down to 3 riders for Victoria as well, but the margin is significant. It was close all the way through. It's only the last 3 laps that Victoria were able to muscle their way out in front of Queensland. They came in as the second fastest qualifiers, and they're riding to a gold medal. Under 19 Team Pursuit gold medal goes to Victoria, as it so often has in the past, and a good ride by Queensland. Look at the time, 4:06.8 for Victoria. Not a national record, but only 2 seconds away from it. What a ride.
And 1.91 seconds back for the Queenslanders. Exceptionally quick times from both of the teams tonight, Scott. There's a little bit of pride in your voice seeing the Victorians win again. You were a Queenslander before this started, and now all of a sudden you're a Victorian again.
Because I thought Queensland was going to win, so I was a Queenslander.
You got a buck each way. A brilliant ride from the young Victorians.
It's
hard to start in the back straight knowing that you are, then the second fastest qualifier. But the Victorians rallied, and it was a bit of to and fro. We expected it to be tight, but I'm not sure I expected a 4:06. It just shows how fast the track is.
Brilliant time, and this track certainly is fast, and good point to make, Kate, because we saw it last year at the National Championships, the first time they raced at elite level on this velodrome. The times were quick then. They're only going to get faster and faster as we get towards the Commonwealth Games. And we are joined as the elite riders are coming out on track now. I'm joined by Tim Decker, the national coach of the elite men's Team Pursuit team. And Tim, I know that you would have been looking at the under-19 Team Pursuit race then very eagerly, because I know you'd be talent scouting for the next generation coming through. You've got a very handy group of elite riders now leading towards Commonwealth Games and, of course, Tokyo Olympics. But how impressive was that Team Pursuit final with two teams so close?
Yeah, it certainly was. To have two teams going in that 4:06 and 4:08 mark through these are state teams, it's quite impressive.
It certainly is. And is there any of the under-19s in particular you're looking at, or just the group is so good you're just waiting to see who comes through?
I think we'll just wait as the championships go along. It generally pans out that one or two of those state team kids stands up and really highlights in that under-19 age division.
Now, as the elite men start to come out now, we do have the first heat, which is Queensland lining up. Unfortunately, New South Wales crashed only a half a lap before the finish of their race, so they were DNF, did not finish the event. Queensland will be given the bronze medal. They will do a ride, but they won't really be too serious about how they approach this one, as they've already got their bronze medal. But you've had all of your riders really evenly dispersed throughout the states this year, and I know that the gold and silver ride-off has a lot of your riders in it as well. Who do you tipping to come away with the gold a couple of minutes away?
Well, if you looked at the qualifying, Victoria certainly looked quite commanding there and, broke that 4-minute barrier, which is always nice to get under. And, 3:59 compared to South Australia's 4:02. But I have noticed that both teams have made a change in their lineups. So be quite interesting to see how things unfold as the state coaches made a couple of different calls to replace riders.
Now, Jordan Kirby started in the qualifying for Queensland. He's not in the race now because he's thinking of bigger things with the individual pursuit, obviously, and hoping to break a world record here, which is not too far away. He's ridden the third fastest time in history. How impressive has he been in the 12 months since he just popped back on the scene here at the National Championships last year, winning the individual pursuit? Yeah,
it's been an impressive return to the track from Jordan, and he certainly has been really determined about what he's wanting to achieve and what he has achieved so far, and changed from an individual pursuit priority last season to this season trying to make it into the Team Pursuit squad as well. Given that we've got good talent and a few numbers, he's had to work quite hard, and I don't know whether he'll be part of that yet, but he had a ride here earlier today and was quite impressive. He actually started the Queensland team from wheel number 1, that is, and they actually qualified in an okay time of 4:04, but resting tonight and ready for tomorrow for the individual pursuit, and I know he's pretty fired up to try and ride fast on his home track.
Well, Kate mentioned earlier during the other rounds of the Team Pursuit how the skills of the Team Pursuit are so important, and there are riders that have come from road or from individual pursuit that haven't been able to get up to the skills required to go at these sorts of speeds. Has, not giving anything away on whether Jordan will be selected for Commonwealth Games or Tokyo or anything in the future, but has it been a challenge for him? How hard has it been for a rider like Jordan Kirby to get the skills required to go fast in a Team Pursuit?
I think one of the most impressive things, and the way he's made it easier for himself, is that now in his career, track is the focus. That is the number one priority. So he has time to actually really work on those skills, and while other athletes might be out on the road doing road races or road competitions, his priority is on the track, and so he has worked really hard. Still some ways to go, but the whole group has some ways to go in regards to the skills. I don't think we'll ever be perfect on it, but he's getting there at the moment, and he's developing a bit more strength, and also that change of pace. In the individual pursuit, it's like you settle into one pace, and it's very fast, but it's just one pace. You don't have any other riders around you, and you just have a tempo going, whereas in the Team Pursuit, it's a lot faster. You've got to do 1 to 2 lap turns, you've got to swing up, you've got to nail your swing and get back on the wheel, you've got to be able to sit on the wheel properly. So there's a lot more technical work to be done in regards to team pursuiting.
I'll pick out another rider as we still see the Queensland team still making their way around. They've got the bronze medal racked up, but what does it mean to you? And I know that you're passionate about cycling, you're passionate about your own fitness level and what you do on the bike, and I know you only just competed in a 24-hour race only a few weeks ago, which was ridiculous. We won't get into that. But
Good idea.
What does it mean to you to be able to coach and lead, be a part of a leadership group of these young champions? As we see the bell lap now for Queensland, they've got the bronze medal wrapped up. We'll just see what the time they're able to post here, for a bit of pride's sake, really, compared to the other teams. But what does it mean to be able to be in charge of the direction of these guys?
Oh, it is, for me, it's been, like, it means the world to me. It's one of the things that when I was a young athlete and cyclist, I knew I never had the talent to be a world champion or one of the world's best, but I knew what cycling was about, and I loved helping other athletes try and be the best they could be, and that's just grown as a passion over my coaching career, and made small and slow progressions, but to be ahead of the national program for the men's final or the men's team pursuit, I wake up every day pretty proud and pretty excited to get out there and get the guys going really well.
I wonder who would be in tears more if you win the Olympic Games gold medal in Team Pursuit in Tokyo in a couple of years, the riders or yourself?
Yeah, I'm nearly in tears now.
Just thinking about it, absolutely. Now, give us a prediction. Queensland,
Victoria versus
South Australia. You've got riders in your squad in both sides. They're lining up on the track now. We can see the rainbow bands of world champions. We've got one world champion in Kell and O'Brien lining up for Victoria. You've got two world champions lining up for South Australia in Alex Porter and Rowan White. Who's going to win? Queensland had the faster time. Victoria had the faster time.
They did, and on paper they should walk away with this. Kell O'Brien, what an exceptional young talent he is, and he adds a lot to this team, and with the inclusion also of Leigh Howard coming back onto the track, such a talented rider as well. I think there's good strength in those two athletes, and they've got two they're not juniors, they're elite now, but they were juniors last year. One competed at the Junior Worlds, so they're going to be quite a formidable team. I expect this to be a lot closer than what qualifying might suggest. Given over on the other side of the track, you can see there's a bit of a change in lineup. Alex Porter's still coming out of the gate, but Rowan White's moved to third wheel, and looks like they've put Braden O'Shea and Jared Drisner's in second and fourth wheel.
Also one change in the Victorian team as well, with Isaac Buckle going out and Riley Hart coming in. So change of formation in South Australia's team, change of lineup for Victoria. It's going to be very close, very tight in qualifying. 3:55 for Victoria, 4:02 for South Australia. Victoria on the left in the home straight, and South Australia in the back straight. Godfrey Slattery, from the youngster from Victoria, just getting his team underway. Kellen O'Brien getting the big gear going as well. And just touch on that. We don't have to go into the technical nature of it too much, but the gear ratios the riders are riding in Team Pursuits now are enormous compared to the old days when I was riding around in these events.
Yeah, it certainly is. Look, when I started coaching the national program, one of the challenges I wanted to put to the guys was the ability to ride bigger gears and just lower the cadence a bit, so that they would be more controlled, as well as holding a higher speed. So we've really done a lot of strength work on that side of things to get to that point. And we're at a point now, but I think there's time to make another shift heading towards Tokyo.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks. I know we're into the race now and you'll be focusing fully on the way your riders are going, so I'll let you go and watch the end of this race. Thanks for dropping in and give us some insight. Thanks for your contribution. Tim Decker, ladies and gentlemen, the head of the Team Pursuit, or the endurance program for the High Performance Unit Cycling Australia, doing marvellous things with our young riders, and so many of them on track right now. South Australia versus Victoria. Victoria 3 seconds faster in qualifying, and they're slightly in front at the moment, 0.2 of a second ahead of South Australia, Kate Bates. And you're a good Team Pursuiter back in your day as well. You have to go way, way back to my day, and it didn't really matter, it's so long ago. But at the moment, Victoria are playing to the scorecard. They were the fastest riders by 3 seconds. I'd expect South Australia to pull something out, though, with 2 world champions in the ranks.
Well, Victoria broke the magic 4-minute mark. The first time that happened was at the Sydney Olympics by the German team, and it was the most marvellous thing I'd ever seen as a track cycling fan. I remember sitting in the bleachers and just looking on in shock and awe that magical 4-minute mark had been broken. It's kind of par for the course now.
State teams are doing it now.
For a state team to do it at national championships just shows how fast these guys are going now. Interesting what Tim Decker said regarding the difference between teams pursuit and individual pursuit. When we talk about how tight the formation is, there's not a lot of gap between the wheels. You can see that the South Australian team, they've just lost a rider. They're down to 3. We've now got 2 world championships and Piggy in the middle there.
3 riders for South Australia, and they are slightly in front. So the big turns have come on for South Australia, which has put them in front of Victoria. 6 laps to go.
They're so slipstream and aero, this South Australian team. They just look beautiful. 3 very equal heights across the trio. We do need 3 to finish. Slight miss of the wheel on that turn.
Yeah, Rowan White just getting it wrong, and it's so different to change when there's only 3 riders compared to 4, but you're so used to. They train so often swinging up with 4 riders.
But this South Australian team is really romping ahead. They're quite a significant way ahead of the Victorian team.
It's come down to 0.08, Kate. So Victoria's starting to come back. Riley Hart has now pulled out of the Victorian team. So both squads down to 3 riders, coming around to get 3 laps to go. And Victoria starting to come back. Not back out. 0.3 to Victoria now. So South Australia slightly in front. 2.5 laps remaining, and the gaps are starting to open up in the South Australian team.
But there was 3-second differential in qualifying. The South Australian team have really gone out very hard, and it seems to be their tactic in both the juniors and the elite. The South Australian team has gone out hard, but they're doing half-lap turns, and the Victorians are starting to pull marginally ahead.
Well,
They're coming round for the bell.
Kellen O'Brien, the world champion, he was on the front of the Victorian team and did a big turn. They've brought it back in front. Victoria in front, 0.12 of a second. South Australia trying to bring it home. It's young Godfrey Slattery on the front, trying to bring them through now. Cross the line. It's going to be tight. Victoria, 0.28 of a second. Victoria get it 3 minutes 58.6 seconds. Over a second faster than they did in qualifying, and incredibly close, 0.28 of a second. South Australia take the silver medal. What a final.
We've got a big grin on Tim Decker's face as he rubs his hands together.
You may not be able to hear it through the stream, but Tim Decker chuckling as he walked out the door.
Got a lot of talent out there for both teams to go under 4 minutes. 3:58. I just cannot express what an incredibly fast time that is for a national championship to have 2 state teams capable of doing that. We have 3 of our world champions out there on track.
Well,
Kell O'Brien, he's very pleased with the effort.
And I really appreciate the fact that the riders like Kell O'Brien and Porter and White, the world champions, they come back to their state squads and they know they've got a couple of younger riders, under 19s, that have just stepped up into the elite category. So they nurse them through, and they understand the combination it takes, and they have to nurse them and convince them that they're good enough to go for gold. And they really do embrace it. They're chasing world championship medals, but they love chasing the the Australian gold medals as well.
Oh, I love that. I love to see the excitement that Kell O'Brien shows. He's world champion, but he just won a national title and looked equally as excited as he won his world title. It means a lot to these lads.
Bit of bragging rights as well amongst the HPU or the High Performance Unit riders. When they do go back to their states, they can come back and say, yep, we got together with my mates and we beat yours.
Oh, so they'll probably still be talking about it in 20 years, Scott. Remember that time at the Anamiers Velodrome.
I've only remembered the ones I won. All the ones I got beaten, I tend to have forgotten. It didn't happen.
Funny how that happens, isn't it? Oh, we've had some brilliant teams pursuits.
We certainly have, haven't we? And that was exciting. Both the under-19 men's and the elite men's, that final race then, that was amazing. Victoria, they were the favourites, but only, they had 3 seconds going into it from qualifying, but 0.28 of a second. South Australia did not lay down, as you would expect, because they have such good heritage, the South Australian Team Pursuit squads. Well,
we saw a bit of strategy with the South Australian teams, the under-19 teams and the elite teams, where they went out exceptionally fast. So they started in the back straight. They were the underdogs, if you want to call them that, the slower qualifiers out of the pair. But both teams went out exceptionally hard, and they held the margin until just toward the end. Well ridden, very well ridden.
Interestingly, Australia isn't sending Team Pursuit teams to the World Championships this year, and that is because they have such strong squads. They're trying to develop them beyond that towards the Commonwealth Games. The Commonwealth Games is the #1 competition being selected by Cycling Australia this year, so they'll forego the World Championships to focus on winning gold at Commonwealth Games, and that also adds to the next big project, which is, of course, going towards Tokyo and the Olympic Games. So they've got a big plan in place. There has been some controversy over that decision, but I agree with them, and I think hopefully there are gold medals at stake in Tokyo coming up afterwards.
Well, it's very difficult to peak and peak and peak, and in fact a lot of these athletes are training through the championships, which just makes these quick times even more impressive. To imagine that they're training through and still breaking the 4-minute mark. And for the women as well, they have put down some very, very impressive times as a team's pursuit.
That's on the endurance and the sprint as well. We saw Matthew Glaetzer come out and ride under 1 minute for a kilometre time trial earlier today in the afternoon program. So it's certainly amazing to see how fast they're all doing, considering the workload that they are under, that's for sure. So here we go, the presentations for the under-19 Women's Team Pursuit. And Nick Green, the CEO of Cycling Australia, presenting the medals. Great to see Nick up here at the National Championships. Tough job. You're working 5 days a week in the office, and then you're spending your weekends travelling to events to make sure that you're on top of them. There are so many events over our Australian summer, the summer of cycling. I'm encouraged by the number of under-19 women team pursuiters at the championships this year. It really has shown an enormous amount of depth, Kate. It must make you excited to see that there is that next generation coming through. I guess the challenge is keeping them riding. That's always been part of the challenge in the past. We've got a lot of talent within this mix, though.
And the ACT team of Noah Millman, Tasman Davies, Lauren Robards and Lauren Thomas receiving the bronze medal in the under-19 category. Strong ride from the New South Wales team to receive a silver medal, and an honour to be presented a national championship medal off of the awesome foursome Olympic gold medalist.
Two-time Olympic gold medalist, Mr. Nick Green. Different sport, rowing, but certainly knows his sport and elite sport. So Tess Wallace, Claudia Jackson, Shari Heffernan and Emily Watts for New South Wales. And all smiles as well. They're happy to be the silver medalist here at the National Championships.
In first place, the 2018
The Victorians now to get the gold medal. Great performance by them. And you can see the black armbands around the arms of the girls, and that's tragically due to Elise Cummings' father on the 23rd of December, passing away suddenly. Quite a shock to the cycling scene in Victoria. He was an integral part of the Victorian cycling scene from Ararat. And considering just how recent that was, all the very best to Elise Culling for being able to continue training to this level to be a national champion. She was joined by Gemma Eastwood, Ashley Jones and Sarah Gigante, her fourth gold medal 2018 with the three that she picked up at the Road National Championships. Sarah Gigante certainly is becoming a giant of the sport.
Big smiles on the faces of the athletes. It's quite a special moment to receive the green and gold jersey for the first time, to pull it on, zip it up, get your gold medal. You look down and you realise you're the best in the nation. It's quite a special moment. Slipstream Sarah, just another moment of gold for her. She's been very dominant over the summer. Got a very big future ahead of her. And of course, the cup.
Junior Women's Teams Pursuit Cup awarded to the gold medal team. Ladies and gentlemen,
proud young ladies, Victoria, New South Wales and the ACT well represented in the under-19 Women's Team Pursuit here. Stars of the future. And with Sarah Gigante, 4 times gold medal winner. Only in the last couple of weeks really is the standout amongst this group at the moment. She's made the big transition from the under-17s into under-19. She was the youngest rider in the National Road Series throughout last year. and now turning her road legs into track legs to come away with another gold medal for Victoria.
And quite plausible that Sarah's one of the ladies that we might see on the fast track to Tokyo. It's a couple of years away. She'll be an elite rider by then. She'll still be quite young, but she's so talented.
The fast train, isn't it? We're talking the fast train. The bullet train to Tokyo.
It's the bullet train.
It was the road to Rio, and now it's the bullet train to Tokyo.
Well, for riders like Sarah Gigante, it could be.
And that would be the challenge, isn't it? It's only a couple of years away, but she's made such progression in the last 12 months that, who knows, she might be able to push her way into the team. It would be a huge challenge considering the development the team is already under right now. And just listening to Tim Decker, I know how much work has gone into the elite men's squad. To get into that in the next 2 years would be incredibly challenging, and it would be just the same for the women.
We say that, but so often we have these incredibly young riders, like Alex Edmondson at the London Olympics was the second youngest. Were you the youngest ever Olympian, I think, possibly in a Teams Pursuit?
Dean Woods.
Dean Woods, and then Scott McGrory, and then Alex Edmondson. So he was an incredibly young rider, but incredibly talented, and he made it. So it is possible, but we have a lot of talent.
Well, the elite women's team pursuit presentation now. New South Wales picking up the bronze medal.
A 5-strong squad. They rode 2 rounds, so all 5 riders had their moment out on track. So all 5 riders will then receive their bronze medal. It's Ashley Ann Kudinoff second from the left with a big smile. Of course, our senior world champion and most experienced rider, Josie Talbot, getting her medal now. She's riding for one of the colleges over in the US on a sports scholarship. It's done her a world of good, allowing her to combine her studies and her athletic career.
And did take a little bit of time out from cycling after the under-19. She was a real standout at under-19 level, but going to the World Championships. Took a little bit of time off. Didn't spend too much away from the sport, which was good because she's come straight back in as part of our high-performance program now.
And look at this, the Queenslanders. Laurelie Moss on the left, Katrin Garfoot giving a little wave, Christina Clonan and Alexandra Martin Wallace, one of our brightest young talents.
Big raps on Martin Wallace. I'm hearing from several people that she is going to be an absolute superstar. She's entered in 7 events here at the championships. There are only 2 riders that have entered in 7 events. She's got a big schedule. She might be tired by the end of it, but if she can cope, she certainly will be a big talent in the next couple of years. And I'd really like to see Katrin Garfoot, a road specialist, in her mid-30s, coming into the track to be a part of the Queensland squad.
It's not too often these days that you see the track and road riders getting medals at national championships only weeks apart. The riders tend to specialise a bit more, but this South Australian team, gosh, we've got some talent here. Alex Manley will be the first to receive her national champions jersey. She's riding for Mitchelton Scott this year. She's had a great summer riding for the first time in that professional environment. And Brianna Hargrave, she will get her jersey second. Now, she got a jersey last year as she won the time trial. So she's transitioned over to endurance, and she's done a pretty good job based on the fact that she's wearing the green and gold first time out.
She gets a tick. Gold medal in the team pursuit.
Yeah, receives a gold medal from Nick Green. Annette Edmondson will pull on number 16 national titles for her. Looks every bit as pleased with this one as the first 15.
Debating something there with Nick Green.
Oh, I think they're a jersey short. It appears they're a jersey short. So
they're going to share. So we're one jersey short for the elite women.
Oh,
Annette Edmondson, she
already
has
there we
15.
go. We've found another jersey for Maeve Plouffe. It will be her first senior elite title, so she'll be very pleased to get that green and gold jersey.
South Australia really do have a strong history in the team pursuit, both women and men's programs. And Annette Edmondson with her 16th Australian Championship. Up to the winners on night 1. So plenty of gold medals on the first night of competition. 4 nights of competition wrapping up Sunday afternoon or late afternoon. 3 evenings and then an afternoon to wrap things up here in Brisbane. South Australia, Queensland and New South Wales taking the medals here in the elite women's team pursuit. Smiles all around for the winners as well. And I've got to say, Alex Manley, I watched the Madison World Championships last year, and she had the unfortunate situation where she came away with Amy Cure with a silver medal at the World Championships, that crashed twice during the event, which is unfortunate.
That's the unfortunate part.
That's the unfortunate
Not
part.
the silver medal part. That's pretty
great.
impressive.
That was great. But it was the way she conducted herself after and during each of those crashes, how she was so eager to get back on the bike and get racing again, which really does show enormous character. So I think she's got a big future, that's for sure. She's a star of the present and the future.
She's very highly regarded by her Mitchelton Scott teammates on the road. She's got a lot of mentors to guide her into that successful future that we know she can have. Time for the under-19 lads. Crowded podium for the Victorians there.
Victorians swapping 2 riders out from qualifying going into the final. So 6 getting their medals.
And it is a quirk of the Teams Pursuit. You only have to ride, if you ride 1 round or the final, you will get a medal as part of the team.
It has changed. That's something that's, the rules have changed on that over the years. You've had to ride a certain number of rounds or the final in the past, but it's only the 2 rounds now qualifying and straight into the final here at the National Championships. Everyone gets to share the love.
Well, it got changed in part due to the Australian team winning their Teams Pursuit at the Athens Olympic Games, where 6 riders received medals. Stephen Wooldridge and Pete Dawson got their gold medals, even though they didn't ride the final, but they did ride earlier rounds and were certainly part of that Olympic gold effort, and they themselves are Olympic gold medalists as a result.
The bronze to New South Wales, Queensland picking up the silver, so some good results for Queensland on home soil. The track up here, new for the National Championships 12 months ago, so the second time we've had this level of competition here on the boards that will feature in the Commonwealth Games in the very short future. So that certainly has bolstered the track racing up here as well. So Queensland showing the results of that now with some good results in the team events, which shows depth within the state. Long hair's back in with the under-19 boys.
Well, there's always a style every year. These lads will receive their green and gold jerseys as national champions. It's one of the most special things about winning the title, Scott. It's not just about the gold medal. You get the green and gold jersey, which you then get to carry with you throughout the year. Gives you something wonderful to frame with the medal as well.
Oh, it's very special.
I wonder how Nettie Edmondson does it with her 16. That's a very big trophy room. And that's before you even talk about Alex.
Rooms. And plenty more to come as well. So Nettie had last year off after the Rio Olympics, took some time away from track cycling and then made her way back in. And I know at the start of training, it was a bit of a challenge because having 12 months away from the track program, and the other ladies had really advanced in that time. She's back in the mix again, found her track legs. Such a talented rider. She started out as a sprinter on the track and then moved into the endurance platform. For now, it's the under-19 men. And we know, as we had Tim Decker in here for the elite men's team pursuit, he was looking at these riders very closely. Talent identification for the future.
The under-19 men are also presented with the WJ Billingham Trophy, awarded to the gold medal-winning team. Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for the medalists of the junior under-19 men's Teams Pursuit.
Well, Teams Pursuiting has a big history in Australia, Scott. We've always been very successful from the junior level up to the senior. It doesn't look like that talent is stopping anytime soon.
Well, the very elite level, the Olympic Games, twice Australia have been the Olympic gold medalists, 1984 in Los Angeles and then 2004 in Athens, as you mentioned, with the 6 riders. 10 Australians have been Olympic gold medalists in the team pursuit. We desperately want to change that. Tokyo 2020, we've tried to do it in Rio, just missed the mark. Also very close in London 2012. Silver medals on both occasions. So maybe in 2 years' time we get to Tokyo Olympic Games. All of the sacrifices the riders are making at the moment will lead to gold for Australia in both the women's and the men's team pursuits.
Well, we've also got Commonwealth Games coming up, Scott. We can get a little bit back on the Brits there. Of course, they won't ride as Great Britain. It will be, England that they'll be up against.
We'll smash.
Most likely.
It'll be England that will smash.
Smash.
And Scotland and Wales.
That is the plan. That is certainly the plan.
I do love seeing the rainbow jerseys here at the National Championships. 3 world champions out on the platform and 2 world champions from other events, and there's a former Team Pursuit world champion in Leigh Howard riding for Victoria, Jordan Kirby, the current world individual pursuit champion. So he's not the Team Pursuit champion, he's not allowed to wear the rainbow jerseys in this event, but he will line up in the rainbow bands for the individual pursuit, which all the talk up here this week is that he is chasing the world record in the 4,000 metre individual pursuit. It's 2 seconds off the World Championships last year, 4:12. The record's 4:10. Big ask.
I think he'll give that a bit of a go tomorrow night. He didn't ride the final tonight as, wanting to keep those fresh legs, and I believe he's headed out to the crit track at Murray on Saturday morning to see if anybody can match him out there. So challenge down to the local lads.
Queensland with the bronze, including Jordan Kirby, only riding the qualifying rounds. Certainly the strong man of that team.
The South Australian team receiving their silver medals.
Alex Porter, world champion, who's also just come off all of the road racing, Tour Down Under Legs racing there, the Kell Evans Great Ocean Road Race, where he won the sprint competition for the 2nd year in a row. And then straight up here to get back into Team Pursuit mode and track mode.
Well, the Victorians fought to the very end there. First to receive the jersey is Leigh Howard. He's been world champion previously on the track. He's took some time out on the road. He's now returned to the track.
3 different disciplines as world champion, Team Pursuit, Omnium and also the Madison for Leigh Howard. Kell O'Brien, Team Pursuit world champion. Bronze medalist in the individual pursuit last year at the World Championships as well. So very talented on his own. Just sipping up the jersey now, Riley Hart, who was brought in for the final. Godfrey Slattery towards the left. So Slattery and Isaac Buckle, the 2 riders coming up from under 19. So some youngsters amongst the gold here for Victoria as well. So the future is set and certain. The next generation of talent coming through.
Well, Kell O'Brien himself is only a 2nd year in the elite, but he's now one
man.
of the more he's one of the more experienced riders out on track. Teams Pursuit tends to be an event for the younger lads. As they get older, they tend not only to do the Teams Pursuit, but to gravitate toward some of the more bunch events or the Omnium.
Victoria, South Australia and Queensland. Gold, silver and bronze here at the Elite Team Pursuit National Championships. All being streamed through Cycling Australia and Cycling Tips this year, brought to you by Let's Go Motorhomes, motorhome rentals. Best way to get around Australia, ride your bike, throw the mountain bikes or the road bikes on the back, and go and check out Australia. Take you home with you with Let's Go. We've been talking about the men's Team Pursuit, but we have the women on standby. So South Australia are ready to have a chat with us.
South Australia, gold medal in the women's Team Pursuit. Nettie Edmondson, 15 national titles, first in the Team Pursuit. How are you feeling?
I am over the moon. This means so much. To do this with South Australia and these 3 girls is really special. So really glad to be back here and on the top step.
Maeve, your elite debut, how are you feeling with those green and gold on your shoulders?
First time elite, and the pace is just that much hotter, but with the support of all these girls, it made it that much more fun, so really exciting.
Alex, you've got the lucky trophy there, the first time we've ever introduced a women's perpetual trophy. How does that feel?
It's really fantastic, and to have our name on it first just means a lot to all of us.
And finally, Brie Hargrave, a great effort out there on the front.
Yeah, it was great to actually, everyone went with their plan in the final and executed it exactly how we wanted to, so it was just a great team effort by everyone.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy chappies. 6 gold medals there for Annette Edmondson. She's so prolific on the boards. And another couple of golds that she's chasing. Commonwealth Games coming up very soon.
Next up on the program, we have the Women's Under-19 Team Sprint. We'll be looking for the bronze final, New South Wales versus Western Australia. New South Wales in the front straight, 36.6. in the qualifying this morning, 37.18, 1.49 seconds behind for Western Australia.
We're not too far from the team sprint from getting going, but we do have an interview now with a former world champion and a current world champion in Kell O'Brien and Leigh Howard for Victoria.
Leigh Howard, the last time that your name was on that trophy was 10 years ago, and Victoria's on the top again. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it was a long time ago, wasn't it? I was trying to remember the last time I rode the actual national championships, and I got to stretch the memory a little bit, so it's really good to be back.
Kell O'Brien sporting the rainbow jerseys out there. Great effort for that race out there. How are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. It's awesome to be out here. 2 of us older guys, 2 younger guys stepping up, and it's really good to see the depth in Australia. Obviously, the crash earlier on in the other team is really unfortunate, so I hope everyone's all right, and the depth in Australia is awesome.
And great, we saw Riley Hart come in for Isaac Buckle in the final there, and a great effort from 5 riders there for Victoria.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 riders from Victoria stepping together, short notice, and it's really impressive to see, and hopefully more to come this week.
And it's just a thrilling final, nothing in it. You guys took the lead on the bell lap. Did you know you'd taken the lead there?
Yeah, it was a good final, and that's what pursuit racing's all about. It's a pursuit against the other team, and at the end of the day, that's what the crowd want to see. That's what we want to see is close racing, and we were lucky that, half a lap or last lap, we just got the edge on them, and it was great to come away with the gold.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, good to see the experience of Leigh Howard and the desperation to chase Olympic gold and Commonwealth gold coming back into the track program. And Kell O'Brien, I've got to say, an absolute gem of a young man, really, really level-headed. And you put those guys together, some experience, some youth, power, the combination, gold medal winning combination there here for Victoria. And let's see if they can do the same at the Commonwealth Games coming up.
Yeah, well, certainly very motivated. I think it's really impressive when our biggest stars, I mean, we saw Kell O'Brien when they won, he actually punched the air. He's been world champion, he's won that event on the world stage, but it means a lot for him to come back at national level and achieve the same thing. These guys are hungry. I mean, I think whether it's a club race, a state title, a national title, a world title, they're just racers. They just want to go out there and win, whatever it is they're challenging.
And the leadership from Cycling Australia, as we see the first of the team sprints getting a go, really are to be commended, because they are putting that hunger back into this generation of rider, and the gold medals will come with it. Under-19 team sprint for the women, and it's New South Wales just getting ahead of Western Australia for the bronze medal. 36.98 for New South Wales, 0.18 of a second behind Western Australia. 4th for them, bronze medal for New South Wales. It's over in a flash, the Under-19 women's team sprint. 2 laps of the track, absolutely flat chat.
The way the team sprint works, slightly different to the team's pursuit, which we've just watched, where the riders must swing up the track and get back on the back wheel. In the team sprint, they swing up and they're done. So it's just 1 lap each. The women 2 laps.
Empty the tank
3.
and get out of the way.
Yeah, so it's a 500-metre event made very popular for the Australians by Anna Mears and Carly McCulloch, who won world titles and world titles and world titles as a pair.
Quite greedy they were.
They were a phenomenal team. And Carly McCulloch and Steph Morton are our team at an international level now.
Well, Hannah Sanderson and Lucy Freitas were the New South Welsh riders that picked up the bronze medal then. Now we're off to faster seeds in South Australia, up against Queensland. South Australia, Heather May and Brooklyn Vonderwall. And from Queensland, we've already seen her tonight, Alexandra Martin Wallace. She was in the team pursuit. Now she's lining up in the team sprint, and she's alongside Emma Green. So on to the second of the 7 events that Martin Wallace is contesting at the championships.
Big day for her. She's already, of course, gotten a medal in the Teams Pursuit. 2 laps, 500 metres. The first rider will do the first lap. The second rider will sit on the wheel and then complete the second lap. Clean start by the South Australian team and the Queensland team in the back straight. Both teams off to a fast start. Both riders still in contact. The leader for the South Australian team, Heather May, she's pulling away slightly, but that's not bad. It gives Brooklyn Vonderwall something to chase. The Queenslanders, they're very compact as rider. They come around with the bell, and rider number 2 has gone through to take up the pace. Only half a lap to go. This event is over in a flash. Only 36 seconds of racing, and the South Australians have the advantage.
Comfortable advantage. South Australia take it. 35.76, 1.06 seconds ahead of Queensland. So 0.9 in qualifying, just around 1 second in the final. But South Australia take the gold ahead of Queensland. New South Wales pick up the bronze.
Marginally slower times than they rode in the qualifying this morning, but reasonably consistent, not too far off. South Australians pleased with their efforts, as well they should be, as the gold medalists and national champions for 2018. And we'll see the women's teams, the women's elite teams, head out on the track now. In the front straight, we have the Victorian team of Caitlin Ward and Maddie Janssen.
Caitlin Ward coming back from injury. She spent most of 2017 injured, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of fitness level Caitlin is at. She's kind of the next rider in the national program that sits just below Steph Morton and Carly McCulloch, so she is trying to force her way back into the spotlight with the national selectors. So Caitlin Ward, she will be the first rider for Victoria. Up against Queensland on the other side of the track, Lara Tucker and Christine Clonan. So Clonan in the team pursuit earlier today as well, so tired legs for her. And Lara Tucker, very famous family up here in Queensland. Her sister Brooke was a junior world champion a couple of years ago, and of course her father Kenrick, as was in his generation our fastest track sprinter.
Victoria rode a 35.227 this morning, Queensland with a 35.305, so not a lot between them. Very tight race. Just 0.1 of a second.
We didn't see it in that last ride, but typically they go a little bit faster in the evening. They've had that first hit out in the morning. Final, they know what they're doing. They're ready to go.
And you can see the under-19 Teams Pursuit squad standing on the fence cheering their girls off as the start gun goes. Clean start from both the Queensland team and the Victorian team.
So Clonan getting them underway for Queensland's. Big crowd support here for Tucker and Clonan. Victoria, though, slightly in front. Caitlin Ward did a good job on that first lap. 19.8 seconds it was for Caitlin Ward. Now it's Jensen versus Tucker. Tucker straight out of the under-19 ranks. She won national titles last year, but it looks like it's tied, but it's Victoria. Victoria coming away with the bronze medal, 34.955. Bronze medal to Victoria over Queensland in the elite women's team sprints.
And a significant improvement from this morning for the Victorian team. This morning they rode a time of 35.227, 34.955 tonight. The only team to have broken the 35-second mark in qualifying was, in fact, South Australia. They were the quickest by quite a margin. They're up in the final tonight against New South Wales. Very good ride by the Victorian team.
Let's take a moment to explain just how that works. In the team pursuit and, say, the individual pursuit, sometimes they go slower, the second ride, because the effort is so difficult. 4 kilometres, incredibly deep. So sometimes when they come out for the evening events, they go sometimes slightly slower. With the team sprint, it is a fast, powerful event. They can recover fairly quickly. The exertion isn't the same as the endurance events. And after doing the qualifying rounds, it's like a hit out. You know, it's another practice run. They've got it nailed. They know how to do it. They know what to expect. And often in the team to sprint, they come out and go faster in the finals.
Well, the New South Wales team on the back straight. dragging their feet a little bit.
Well, 35 seconds to go until the start. So the start clock is coming down, and New South Wales still not up onto the start line. Start rider, the first rider is in position. Their second rider is still coming up, just getting into position now. 22 seconds to go. So a rushed start for New South Wales. Gold medal up for grabs. South Australia in the home straight. New South Wales a little bit flustered in the back straight. 10 seconds to the start.
South Australia, we have Ricky Belder and Holly Tarkos lining up. New South Wales, Carly McCulloch and Selena Ho.
South Australia up to mix. It's Steph Morton at the second position. You just see holding off the wheel. She's not struggling. She's just giving herself a little bit of room. Now she'll start running at the lead rider. So when she swings up, full speed ahead it will be for Stephanie Morton. And the gap is significant. Steph Morton, the fastest female sprinter in the world, unleashed in this last half lap to go. So Steph Morton for South Australia comfortably coming around to take gold over New South Wales. The time, very fast, 33.462 seconds. Over 2 seconds faster than New South Wales. That's extraordinary.
That is extraordinarily fast. That would have gotten them a bronze medal at the last World Cup round. Not bad for a state team at a national title. So Ricky Belder and Stephanie Morton have done a tremendous job. They already went very fast this morning with Ricky Belder and Holly Tarkos, but having Steph Morton step into that final, they've taken nearly a full second off their qualifying time. World-class time that was. Steph Morton should be very pleased with that.
I'm sure she would, and they'll also break that down to her lap split as well, just to see how fast she came home. Compare that to some of the other rides they've had around the world in the last 12 months or so, just to check what her form is like.
Well, the Enemies Velodrome is proving to be quite quick on day one.
It is fast, isn't it? There's a lot of talk about this new track, and 12 months ago at the National Championships, the first time they raced here, a lot of discussion just about how fast this track is, and typically when it's brand new, it's not at its best. So it will be faster this year. And if the weather conditions are just right, the barometric pressure is at the sweet spot, then it becomes lightning quick, and perhaps world records can fall. For Jordan Kirby, he's hoping that's going to happen when we get to the individual pursuit rounds.
So we have the under-19 men's team sprint lining up for the bronze medal now. We just have the Victorian team of Ned Pollard, Sam Gallagher and Oliver Booth going for a time to get their bronze medal.
Only the three teams in qualifying, so bronze medal assured for Victoria, but there's always national selection on the cards, particularly that first position. You get a time for the first rider on that first lap. Very important. Nathan Hart is our elite men's starter, the fastest starter we've ever had for Australia. Someone wants to take him down, and this is where you can start to prove your worth.
Victorian team.
3 laps for the men, 2 laps as we saw for the women. It's 3 for the men.
But it works on the same concept. Each rider will complete the first rider 1 lap, the second rider 2, and the third rider will finish it off with 3 laps. Quite a gap opening up from a very fast start here. They rode 46.94 seconds in qualifying this morning. They'll be looking to better that this evening. They don't ride off against a team for this bronze medal. They're assured of the bronze, but they're going for a time.
Sam Gallagher, the Victorian, trying to bring it home now. First thing they're trying to do is beat that time from this morning, 46.94. Can Sam Gallagher, as he rolling it home, and I can see what happened there. He thought about all the other racing to come this week and decided to just back off the accelerator and rest up. They had the bronze medal wrapped up.
Yeah,
49 seconds, very slow time, but they
certainly didn't ride to the line on that one.
Gas off. Mr. Miyagi, gas on, gas off. 49
I think
seconds.
It's wax on, wax off, Scott, but close.
If Mr. Miyagi was a cyclist, it would be gas on, gas off, I'm sure.
So we're heading into the final now. We have New South Wales versus South Australia. New South Wales, the fastest qualifiers this morning in 46.380 seconds. South Australia, the second fastest team in 46.610. Just 0.23 of a second behind. I think we're in for another close race here tonight.
0.2 of a second difference. There's not much of a form guide. And as I've said a couple of times now, they often go faster. Unless you're Victoria and you don't really care and you've got the bronze medal wrapped up already, then typically racing for gold, I'd expect faster times than what these two teams did in qualifying. Tom Cornish from New South Wales is the rider that they're all talking about, perhaps the next superstar sprinter. So we'll see if Tom Cornish can deliver for New South Wales today. Cornish, Marshall and Trovis for New South Wales. And lining up for South Australia in the back straight is Charismo, Hoffman and Ty. Cooper Ty, former BMX rider that's made the transition across to track cycling. BMX, they know all about fast starts. If you don't get the jump at the start of a BMX race, you are out of the mix. 10 seconds to go. Gold medal up for grabs. New South Wales versus South Australia, under-19 men's team sprint.
And a clean start from both teams. New South Wales off to a clean start. South Australia as well. New South Wales very quickly into formation, the three riders.
John Trovis from New South Wales getting them underway. Charismo for South Australia.
South Australia has started very quickly. New South Wales 0.26 of a second behind just in that first lap.
They're still up as well. New South Wales with all the work to do. They come around now,
but
one lap to go.
South Australia, Scott, they're in pieces. They're two riders. A significant gap between them. A lot of work for that third rider. But the race is tight. There's almost nothing in it. It'll be right to the line for the New South Wales and South Australian teams. And New South Wales.
Zach Marshall brought them home for New South Wales to pick up the gold. 46.3 seconds. Just slightly faster than they rode in qualifying.
Pretty pleased to see New South Wales get a gold medal there.
You would be.
Since you're claiming Victoria and Queensland.
Yeah. I rode for South Australia as well, so
oh,
if they
heavens.
win something, I'm on board.
Okay, well, I'm loyal to New South Wales, so they're my only. They've done well tonight. Well done, lads. Thank you. In the State Cup, I am severely lacking up here in the commentary team.
You just see New South Wales getting up to speed. South Australia did get back in front of them ever so slightly, though, and then Zach Marshall, the winner of the Austral Wheel Race in Melbourne back in December. Very crash-marred Austral Wheel Race. He was out in front, was not affected by the crash, and went on to win the oldest bike race on the planet. And now he's got a gold medal in the under-19 men's team sprint. A good combination there for New South Wales.
Cornish, Marshall and Trovis. Very clean start from the New South Wales team. They are very compact riding together. We're heading into the men's final now. Victoria in the front straight. With the third fastest qualifying this morning. Jacob Schmid, Connor Rowley and Braden Dean lining up for the Flying V. Is that what you call it, Scott?
The Big V.
The Big V.
They'll be the Flying V in just a moment. They're the Big V at the start. Bronze medal up for grabs between these two squads.
In the back straight is the ACT, Nathan Hart, Matthew Mooney and Jackson Williams. Riding up in the blue and gold colours in the back straight.
Now, Victoria were significantly faster in qualifying, but just watch the ACT for the first lap. Nathan Hart is the starter. He's the national team first position rider, the fastest rider over 250 metres from a standing start that we've ever seen in Australia. He's in the back straight on the right-hand side. Victoria the favourites to win, though.
Clean start out of the gate. My goodness, look at that start from the ACT. It's not world fastest for no reason. Both ACT and Victoria off to fast starts. You'll notice a big gap between first and second wheel. The second wheel just has to chase and hit that line with speed. As the first rider swings up, they just do one lap on the front each and then get out of the way, let their teammates do the work.
Well, Victoria just slightly in front, coming around now to get the belt. 1 lap to go. Braden Dean for Victoria will be bringing them home. They have an advantage, 0.2 of a second. It's still close. 31 seconds for the 500 metres. I think that may have just squeezed out a little bit more. Dean trying to bring them home for the Big V. And it is Victoria comfortably taking the bronze medal. 44.6 seconds.
Well, that's a significant improvement from their time from this morning.
The ACT was much faster. Victoria similar to what they rode in qualifying, but for the ACT definitely a bit quicker. Close to start with, but then Victoria just getting on top of things. And they all look a little bit messy in this one because they let the wheel go a little bit. It looks like they're getting dropped or struggling, but it's really just to give themselves some acceleration room to come at the wheel in front before they swing up and get out of the way so they can slingshot themselves into their own lap.
And a solid ride from both teams there. Victoria taking the bronze medal. Scott McGrory calling it like it was the gold medal because it's Victoria. South Australia and Western Australia are lining up for the gold medal ride. Victoria
got another chance to win here. South Australia, my other state that I rode for, they're up for a gold, so I'll be cheering for them as well. But South Australia up against Western Australia. Patrick Constable, Matthew Glaetzer and Tom Clark for South Australia. 2 Rio Olympians in that squad with Constable and Glaetzer. And for West Australian, Luke Zachariah Richardson and Sam Welsford, which is an interesting name.
He's not a name you would normally hear in a sprint event. No. Sam Welsford, one of our Teams Pursuit riders, world champion Teams Pursuit riders.
Perhaps the
very
fastest
road rider.
Yeah, the fastest of our Team Pursuit group. And the Australian Omnium champion from back in December. Now he's lining up for his home state, Western Australia, in the third wheel position.
The South Australians, they were the fastest qualifiers this morning in 44.334 seconds. They had Patrick Constable, Matthew Glaetzer and James Brister sitting in for that first one. This evening they've swapped James Brister out for Tom Clark. Patrick Constable and Matthew Glaetzer remain the same. The Western Australian team remains unchanged, 44.588 seconds, 0.25 of a second behind the South Australian team in qualifying.
Reasonably close between them, but with the 2 big star names in Constable and Glaetzer. South Australia is certainly the favourites. Tom Clark will lead them away. Big efforts to get these gears going. Matthew Glaetzer in third position. He's already ridden the team sprints and the kilometre time trial earlier today. So Tom Clark getting them going. Now Patrick Constable running at the wheel. Clark will move up out of the way, and here comes Patrick Constable, the Rio Olympian. They've got it all to do, though. 0.3 of a second behind. Western Australia way out in front, but the 2 superstars from South Australia now with all the work to do. Coming around, 1 lap to go. Matthew Glaetzer, the fastest man in the world in the last 6 months. Going to be bringing it home for South Australia. West Australia doing everything they can to hold on, but it's Matthew Glaetzer, the flying fish, absolutely motoring around. 44.035 seconds. It's a win to South Australia. 0.55 of a second behind Western Australia. Surprising first lap there. Western Australia shockingly fast to get things going, and then South Australia really had to pull on their star power to bring them home for gold.
Oh, a tremendous ride to see Matthew Glaetzer put that much time into Sam Welsford in 1 lap when Sam Welsford is one of our fastest Teams Pursuiters, not only in the country but in the world. Matthew Glaetzer, look at his position. He's so aero and so low. He is the fastest man in the world, the fastest 200-metre rider in the world. He's so low, he's so aero. Tremendous little throw to the line there and a great time, 44.035. Significantly faster than their ride this morning, 44.334 in qualifying. Another national title, another gold medal. And Matthew Glaetzer and the South Australian team sprint team. We've only got 1 event left this evening, Scott. It's a very tight program here. We've got the women's under-19 scratch race coming up, 7.5 kilometres. But some of those riders, it will be the third event this evening for some of those under-19 women riders. Perhaps even the third medal.
Oh, Matthew Glaetzer is just incredibly fast, isn't he? And he's already ridden the kilometre time trial, a team sprint qualifying today, and under 1 minute for the kilometre time trial.
That's incredible.
Wasn't in the evening program, it was this afternoon, but incredibly fast. They're going to do another kilometre tonight in the team sprint. They had all the work to do. Paddy Constable did what he could to get him back in contention, and then Glaetzer against Welsford for those that third position absolutely just blasted his way around the track.
Oh, he just looks incredible on the track. His aero position is almost so severe. Do you remember the ad with the flip-top toothbrush man?
Yes, I do.
That's what Matthew Glaetzer's neck is like. The way he can get it so aero, it really is incredible. We don't see you look at it and you think, wow, that's perfect. It's not normal. It isn't. It's such an incredible position. It's so fast. It's his secret weapon.
It is, and he really is rapid. We can just see the start here. Tom Clark got them underway. And while it did look as if Patrick Constable was struggling, he wasn't. He was just giving Clark a little bit of space so he could really just motor towards him as he swung up after one lap of the track. Good team effort.
Matthew Glaetzer is our Usain Bolt. He really is the fastest and best they come. The technique here is interesting. They do need to lay off a little bit as their starter accelerates. And Patrick Constable just giving a little bit of distance to make sure that he can make a run at it, because the team sprint is absolutely about each rider doing their lap, and they need to ensure that if the rider in front is slowing down in any capacity toward the end of their lap, because that's what fatigue does, that the rider is able to maintain their speed. The South Australian team did an excellent job. Look at Matt Glaetzer tucked in at the back there.
I was going to say as well, and trying to hug the bottom of the track, the black line is the fastest way around the track. That is the 250 metres. Anything above that, you're going longer than you need to. But they're trying to hold the bottom of the track as much as possible, keep it nice and smooth. And then Constable up to the right, and on he goes.
It's deceiving. Matthew Glaetzer's a tall athlete, but on the bike he looks a little bit more compact. The presentation here for the under-19 women's team sprint. Medals presented by Mike Victor,
former president of Cycling Australia,
and now board member of Gold Dock. Heading into the Commonwealth Games, his knowledge about cycling has been instrumental in getting venues like the Anna Meares Velodrome developed and built.
A very proud Queenslander. Be very happy to see this new Anna Meares Velodrome built up here in the national championships last year. 12 months on, we're here once more, heading into the Commonwealth Games. It's exciting times for track cycling up here in Queensland, and Mike Victor certainly has had a lot to do with that over the last couple of decades. Queensland with a silver medal.
In first place, the 2018 Australian champions.
And that's Alexandra Martin Wallace. That's her second medal for this evening. She'll be going for a third shortly in the under-19 7.5 kilometre scratch race. But the national champions, South Australians, Heather May, Brooklyn Vonderwall, and get their medals first. They'll get their jerseys. Want to turn the medal around the right way. That's important.
Get ready for the photo opportunities afterwards. But the proud green and gold jersey of national champion. Similar but different to the national team jersey. The yellow shoulders in the national champions jersey. Everything else on the jersey is the same as the national team. It's just those yellow sleeves that signifies a national champion worn proudly around the world. The next generation of team sprinters from South Australia coming through. Vonderwall and May, ahead of Martin Wallace and Green from Queensland. And Sanderson and Frittis from New South Wales. Riding on the Anna Meares Velodrome. No doubt the under-19 ladies have been inspired by the accomplishments of the great Queenslander Anna Meares, the most accomplished cyclist at World Championship level. So many big competitions like the Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, World Championships. We see the elite riders from Australia and how well they're going. It's great at the National Championships to see that next generation of the under-19s that we'll be talking a lot about in the years to come.
The medals will be presented by Mike Victor, OAM, Cycling Australia Life member. In third place, winners of the bronze medals are Caitlin Ward and Maddie Jansen, representing Victoria.
Maddie Jansen and Caitlin Ward from Victoria. Ward coming back from injury, almost 12 months out. In a form, looking very good. Bronze medal here in the team sprint for the elite women.
And she's been mentored by Anna Meares. Anna's got a very soft spot for Caitlin and believes she's a very big talent. Carly McCulloch and Selena Ho getting the silver medal. Very big smiles on their faces. Carly's been world champion in this event. She's just eternally positive. She's fought some big injury battles, but she's always made her way back. Olympic medalist, world champion.
And
incredibly talented rider.
With the retirement of Anna Meares, Carly and Steph Morton become the two dominant riders in terms of the national team. with the team sprint. And it's a gold medal to the 3 riders that rode in the 2 rounds for the elite women's team sprint. Steph Morton there, the fastest female cyclist in the world at the moment. Silver medalist in the sprint at the World Championships behind Christina Klonen, who really has Vogel, who had really dominated world sprinting the last couple of years. But Steph Morton is faster. In the qualifying 200 metres, she is the fastest rider out there on the track. Just got to get that tactical nous right. I think she's got a really good chance to win several gold medals at the upcoming Commonwealth Games, and then on to Tokyo. She can get those skills right up to speed. She certainly will be going in as one of the favourites.
Well, she was a bit disappointed after Rio. I think we all expected that perhaps she could step up there, but we forget how young she is. She's just so incredibly talented, and her progression has been so rapid. 3 riders for the South Australian team, only 2 on track at any one given time. Ricky Belder riding both rounds with Stephanie Morton and Holly Tarkos. The other 2 riders, only 2 on track, but 3 get the medal. As the same with the Teams Pursuit, if you ride a round, then you are considered part of the team. Little shuffle. The podium's not quite made for 7 riders. Everybody wants their mug in the photo.
Steph's the one missing out at the back there.
She's been on plenty. Of all of these riders, Steph and Carly have been on plenty of podiums.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we have your attention for the awards ceremony of the U19 Men's Team Sprint Championship.
We've got the presentations coming up now for the men's under-19 team sprint. The women's team sprint has 2 riders. The men's team sprint has 3 riders. 4 riders here for Victoria. 500-metre event for the women, 750-metre event for the men. And New South Wales, this is where we were victorious. Pleased to see.
We're all winners.
I think.
Aren't we? We're all winners.
We're all winners.
Bronze medal to Victoria. Utilising 4 riders through the 2 rounds. But while we have a go at each other about who's winning and who's not, isn't it good that it's competitive? All the states have really stepped up. Queensland also with the building of this track up here. They're a lot more significant than they have been in the last few years. So great to see them to really come back up into it as well. South Australia, New South Wales, ACT in the mix. Western Australia, last year they won the Team Pursuit in an incredibly fast time for the men. Unfortunately, weren't able to do the same this year. So it's competitive along the states.
Jerseys and medals presented once again by Mike Victor, former president of Cycling Australia, now board member of GoldDoc, the Gold Coast Organising Committee for the upcoming Commonwealth Games. Bit of a forefather of cycling in Australia, and the Victor family is very active and prominent in Queensland. One of his sons, Mark, has a bike shop, Scott. Great bike shop, Planet Cycles. It's where I got my bike, actually. New South Wales getting the gold medal this evening. Thomas Cornish, Zachary Marshall and John Trovis rode a very fast time and very uniform performance out on track. I don't look that pumped, but I think it's just a bit of exhaustion after a number of rounds.
Overwhelmed, I'll say. Chuffed to be national champions.
Well, for a lot of the under-19 riders, this will be the first time they do pull on the green and gold jersey, and it's quite an honour. It can be quite overwhelming.
And it is a big step up. A lot of them have come through the under-15s into the under-17s. They're going to national championships at that level. But coming into the under-19s, you're up here with the elite riders, the stars that you've been watching on the world scene, Matthew Glaetzer, Steph Morton, and the Team Pursuit group. And it is a little bit different from being the king of the castle in the younger age category. You come into the 19s, the racing's longer, harder, faster, a lot more recognition, journalists around. So it is a big step up, both mentally and physically for the under-19 riders.
This might be their biggest challenge today, trying to fit all of the riders onto that top step of the podium.
Well, the national selectors certainly looking at the riders up on the podium, checking the time splits they did in the team sprint as well, looking to identify the next generation of talent.
It was a big week for the selectors, the national championships. It's not necessarily about selecting a team for next week, next month. It's about the years to come and the resources that might get put into individual riders based on the kind of performances that they lay down at these kinds of competition. We'll now see the presentation for the elite men's team sprint competition. Victoria taking the bronze medal, Western Australia the silver, and South Australia taking a dominating win.
Braden Dean, Connor Rowley and Jacob Schmidt for Victoria, picking up the bronze medal. Jacob Schmidt is a part of a high-performance program, sprint group, so sits just in behind Matthew Glaetzer, Paddy Constable, Nathan Hart. He's sort of the next rider in the running. Braden Dean has been working very hard for the last couple of years to try and force his way up into that group. Still a little bit of work to do. And the youngster of the trio is Connor Rowley, trying to make his way up through from under-19s up into the elite category as well. Western Australia with an unfamiliar sprinting face in Sam Welsford in the middle there, part of the Team Pursuit program, Australian Omnium champion, but lining up for his team. Western Australia didn't contest the Team Pursuit this year, didn't quite have enough riders to get themselves into the medal rounds. So Sam also doubling up in the team sprint as well. Lined up with Matt Richardson and Luke Zachariah. South Australia, another team utilising more than the minimum riders required of 3, swapping one rider out from qualifying into the final.
Patrick Constable and Matthew Glaetzer, of course, our national team members, our Olympians. Matthew Glaetzer, fastest man in the world. I'm going to call him our Usain Bolt.
Incredibly rapid.
You know what Matthew Glaetzer's secret weapon is? His grandmother's cornflake cookies.
Okay. In his head, he believes that, and that's okay with me because it makes him go fast.
Yep,
so
he believes that.
Absolutely fine with that. He's certainly very fast, though, but South Australia doing a great job in the team sprint, 4 riders being utilised, so good to see them doing so well. And look, it's so good to see Matthew Glaetzer on the track at any time, because even when he's in there on his own doing a kilometre time trial or the final leg of the team sprint, he's just so rapid. He's animated on the bike for a big man. And I've got a story for you I have to tell you about. I may have actually been the reason that he lost the men's sprint here at the National Championships last year.
Oh, goodness.
It's a story for the day of the sprint competition. So Brister with Clark, Glaetzer and Constable. 2 Rio Olympians in Constable and Glaetzer. And 2 young riders making their way up as well. Gold medal for South Australia, silver for Western Australia. And Victoria not looking very happy at all with the bronze medal, the 3 lads from the Big V.
That concludes this presentation.
Well, we know that Matthew Glaetzer is looking for a big week ahead. He's already won 2 gold medals here now so far this week. Opened his account with a gold medal in the kilo, went under the 1 minute mark. Incredible to see an Aussie rider do that in an afternoon session at a national title. It used to be our blue ribbon event. You know, Shane Kelly, he was a national hero for his efforts in the kilometre. It's been downgraded somewhat since it's been taken out of the Olympics. Sadly, I'm a little bit devastated about that. But Matthew Glaetzer, it's a Commonwealth event, and he's motivated to be the best that he can there. 2 gold medals now. How many can he win this week?
As many as he wants. He could come.
He's still got the sprint. He's still got the Kieran.
4 medals, definitely.
Yep.
Not sure what colour. Could be gold, but definitely 4 medals could be up for grabs with Matthew Glaetzer, that's for sure. But I know other medals tonight was the team sprint in Steph Morton, as one of our Rio Olympians as well, was part of the trio from South Australia that were able to come away with the gold medal in the women's team sprint. Let's have a chat with our South Australian gold medalists.
Ricky Belder, that's 7 national titles, that's 6 for you. Tell me how you're feeling now.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great to come out here and ride with these girls. We do it year after year, and, you know, it's a brilliant feeling. And just like, I mean, for me this year, I had a really challenging year with injury, been coaching myself, and just to come out here and just like pull another one out, it's amazing. It's like, yeah, lucky 7.
And Stephanie, I think that's 6 for you as well. An amazing final lap out there tonight.
Yeah, feeling good out there. It's a beautiful track, so it's always nice to get on and have a ride, especially considering we've got the Com Games coming up. But yeah, I think South Australia should be pretty proud. 7 on the trot. Our under-19 girls got a win as well, so it's really positive that, you know, we've got the next generation coming through, and we can hopefully keep this streak going for more than 7.
And they call it the team sprint for a reason. Holly, fantastic performance in qualification to get South Australia to the final.
Yeah, as the girls said, it's really great to come together and ride together and to be part of the team. And we had a really clean ride this morning, me and Ricky, and was happy to do the job to get us qualifying fastest. And yeah, it's always special.
Congratulations.
Holly, Ricky and Steph, gold medalists for South Australia in the elite women's team sprint. Just another title for Steph Morton. Commonwealth Games not too far away. She's training through this particular event. Can you believe it? Still amazingly fast, but yet training through it. And it's all about winning gold at the Commonwealth Games. South Australia did the double in the team sprint. It was the men's team sprint that came away as well. And we can now go down and have a look at the 4 riders that rode for South Australia to come away with the gold medal. We do have the under-19 women lining up for their scratch race. But let's go down. It's the under-19 women just rolling away for their 7.5 kilometre scratch race. But let's go down to the middle of the track. And the 4 riders riding for South Australia that won the men's team sprint gold medal.
South Australia, congratulations. Patrick Constable, 3rd consecutive title for South Australia.
Yeah, 3rd in a row, and we're starting to get a bit of a dynasty going. But yeah, it's good to have someone new step into the team every year with me and Maddie, obviously. So we've had Tom and James come in this year and put up really good times as well and help us get another one. So that's been great.
Thomas, your first green and gold national jersey. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. Like, I only moved down to South Australia a few years ago, so it's great to step up and, you know, have Maddie and Paddy and obviously James in the team and sort of gel together in national titles. And yeah, pretty stoked with my first one. So yeah, really happy.
Matt, another team sprint national title, a couple of hours after sea level record in the time trial. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good actually. When you win races, it makes the pain not as bad. So we had, yeah, as you said, 2.5, 3 hours. So that's enough these days. We're in a big workload, so we're used to working hard. But yeah, it's race day. You always step up for the final, so it was good fun.
12 months ago, James, you were winning gold in the under-19s, and now we've seen gold around your neck in the elite. You feeling pretty good?
Yeah, it feels really good. Big challenge to step up, but I'm really keen to do it and to race with these boys today and then tomorrow race against them. I'm really excited. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Certainly congratulations for the 4 South Australians coming away with the gold medal. 2 Rio Olympians in Constable and Glaetzer. Joined by a couple of younger riders as well to come away with gold. The under-19 women's scratch race is on the track at the moment. 30 laps, 7.5 kilometres for them. First rider to the end of 30 laps becomes the winner. Pretty straightforward with the scratch race, although it gets complicated when riders attack and lap the field. If it is all together, then it's a big bunch sprint down to the end of the line after 30 laps. Good sized field as well for the under-19s here.
15 riders out on track. A number of the riders have already competed today in the Teams Pursuit or in the team sprint event. Got different strategies out on track in a scratch race. You tend to have riders who know they could perform well if it came down to a sprint and aren't too motivated or inclined to keep the pace high, but then you have other riders who know that if they come to the finish in a bunch, they don't really have a snowflake's chance. So those riders, Scott, we want to see them attack and animate the race somewhat to ensure that they have every chance of still taking away a medal. The pace just fairly uniform, just rolling along. Nobody taking too much responsibility. The riders only taking short pulls of quarter to a half lap at a time. Nobody wants to take too much responsibility for the pace and wear their legs out. Emily Watts just swung off after a short turn.
Well, this is the last race of the first night of competition here at the Anna Meares Velodrome. Before we do get to the end of the evening, we'd just like to catch up with where Phil Anderson, a great of Australian cycling, what he likes to do these days. And I'll tell you what, he does certainly like to get out and ride his bike. Have a look at this.
Obviously, I retired quite a long time ago now, and we have a travel business, taking people over to Europe to look at the big events. But of recent time, I've started travelling a little bit around Australia, and I'm maybe not quite of the grey nomad age yet, but I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to embrace it when I'm there. Taking the camper away with the bikes is, I think that's the first step. Well, road riding is what I did for many, many years. As a professional, I rode 15 years on the circuit in Europe, and I possibly clocked up to close to 1 million kilometres. And now that I've retired, I just love going off-road. So when the bitumen ends, I just keep going. But since I've got the gravel bike, I've left the road bike at home. I just always take the gravel bike with me.
And I feel so much safer, particularly if cars come close, there's a gravel verge. I feel really safe and far more confident if I have to go off the road. And for women, I love it. I love it.
On the Great Ocean Road in this region in southwest Victoria, it offers so much. You know, on the road, there's some great road loops you can ride, but then also there's the dirt trails you can take up the back of Mount Sabine, behind Apollo Bay, behind Lorne, all the way down to Anglesey. There's dirt roads everywhere here. You can virtually go from here to the 12 Apostles off the road, and it's just they just offer you so much variety in terrain and roads as well. At the moment, we're just going out and exploring and having fun. You know, it's like the invention of this bike has really sort of opened up a whole plethora of well, geez, I get quite excited when I go out and I don't know. We've recently gone up to Queensland, up the coast. We went up to 1770, and mostly in national parks and you know, free camping, or, you know, camping not necessarily in caravan parks, and it's just been a real hoot.
Well, Phil Anderson, a great of Australian cycling, the first non-European to wear the yellow jersey at the Tour de France. He still loves riding his bike. And Let's Go Motorhome Rentals, thanks to them, they're bringing you the coverage here of this 2018 Cycling Australia Track National Championships. We've got 13 and a half laps to go in the under-19 women's scratch race. It's all strung out for now. We've got Alexandra Martin Wallace, the Queenslander, that's in her third event in this first night of competition, so chasing a third medal to match the other two she's already picked up tonight. Sarah Gigante from Victoria, she has 4 gold medals already this year, 3 on the road and 1 tonight. And let's see if she can come away with another one here in the scratch race. All looking at each other at the moment. 12 laps to go, fairly cagey, Kate. Now, you were a bunch race specialist, points race, scratch race. You were brilliant at it on the boards. How nervous is it? What are we thinking here? We've got riders that can sprint, riders that need to attack to make it hard, but at the moment it seems like a status quo.
Well, I always had a rule. I could, for a rider, and many of these riders actually, they do have 2 options. If they play the sprint right, they might be up there, but they also have a good job in an attack. For me, I would always give myself until the 10 lap to go mark. If I hadn't been able to get a break by then, I would sit back and I would wait for the sprint. But this race is playing out...
Just coming to 10 laps to go, by the way.
Unusually
right now.
Conservatively, because they're coming in with 10 laps to go. We haven't seen a single attack. What we've seen is a force of pace. But you don't win bike races, you don't get breakaways on the track by forcing the pace at the front. You actually have to use the bank, use the advantage to do a proper attack. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're burning your matches while everybody sits on and gets the advantage. So it's not smart riding to just ride at the front and ride quicker. We haven't seen anyone take responsibility. We might see a late attack. It's not a bad idea for the... None of the track riders are slow. If you're a track rider, you're reasonably fast. But let's call them less sprint-inclined riders to perhaps go a bit long, maybe with about 3 or 4 laps to go, but not a single attack yet.
Lendrum from Western Australia just swinging up. Here's the first real significant move. It's coming from the Australian Capital Territory. Look over the shoulder from New South Wales, the rider in second position. Now the first attack and the first gap that's opening up as well, quite significant.
That's right, at 1:41, Lauren Thomas from the ACT. I want to tell her to not look over her shoulder, to just go, but look at that Sarah Giganti closing that gap like it was no effort at all. A touch of acceleration, seated acceleration, but the South Australian team on the attack, rider number 97, Olivia Wheeler, on the move.
So 5 laps to go the next time they come around, 5.5 laps to go.
And that was a good move, Scott. That was the first solid out of the seat, over the top attack that we have seen. And Olivia Wheeler, she's got a break. Stop turning around, Olivia. Just go.
Well, it's Alexandra Martin Wallace from Western Australia now looking over her shoulder. She's gone to the front of the peloton. She wants to close the gap down. She doesn't want to see the gold medal right away with South Australia Wheeler out in front.
She'll come around with 4 laps to go, 1 kilometre left to race. Olivia Wheeler is open to significant advantage. She's roughly 80 metres ahead of the chasing peloton. Nobody taking responsibility back in the pack. Olivia Wheeler moving. She's working hard. She's dipping the head. She's got 3 laps to go, 750 metres. Olivia Wheeler with a nearly half-lap advantage. The chase is coming. Rider number 139, Lauren Robards from the ACT.
Well,
maybe too little, too late.
She's swung up out of the way. It's still out in front, Wheeler. Look over the shoulder. 2 laps to go for Wheeler. The gap is still significant. There's a chase now coming. It's Queensland on the front of the peloton. They are all strung out. Emma Green from Queensland getting things moving. Coming around to get, it's 2 laps to go this time coming around. So,
well, this is going to be tight. It's been a great race ride. She's going to get the bell this lap. Olivia Wheeler from South Australia.
Well, can she hold on? Alexandra Martin Wallace is the Queenslander. She was the pre-race favourite coming around the outside. Wheeler is going to get run down with less than half a lap to go. It's Martin Wallace, the pre-race favourite. She's got 2 medals already. It's going to be gold this time. The superstar from Queensland, rising star, Alexandra Martin Wallace, and the crowd go crazy here in the stadium, the Anna Meares Velodrome, to see a Queenslander take gold. Brilliant result.
Her 3rd medal for the championships. What an incredible talent, Scott. You talked about her being hailed as one of the big up-and-comers. Brilliant ride from her. She left her run just perfectly timed. They only caught Olivia Wheeler with a quarter of a lap to go. Devastating for Wheeler. She really made that race. An incredible ride, but what a ride from Alexandra Martin Wallace.
Elizabeth Nussbaum was the rider from Victoria that was just on her wheel.
And Olivia Wheeler, what an attack she put in. Animated the race. Late in the piece with only 5 laps to go.
Well, we're excited about the rising star of Martin Wallace, but when you take the effort and you really commit and go on the attack like that, I can almost cry for them when they get caught within a third of a lap to go. So she really did put in a big effort, 5 laps out on the attack, but just got run down.
And we can see her, she's just rolling off screen now. She has the head dropped. I think she's in
she can be proud
quite
though.
a world of pain. It was a big performance from Olivia Wheeler. I love that tenacity. To win bunch races, it's not just about physical talent. It's also about skill, and it's about attitude and tenacity. And Olivia Wheeler really was the antagonist in the under-19 women's 7.5 kilometre 30-lap scratch race. Queenslander, the local rider, Alexandra Martin Wallace, 3rd medal for the night and the championships, but her first gold.
Nussbaum from Victoria in 2nd place. We're just waiting for confirmation on 3rd. It was Sophie Edwards from South Australia. So Alexandra Martin Wallace taking out the gold in the final event of tonight. Elizabeth Nussbaum from Victoria in silver. Sophie Edwards, the young South Australian, come away with the bronze medal. But an incredible turn of pace at the end of what's been a difficult night of racing for Alexandra Martin Wallace. Lots of laps of the track being ridden by her tonight, and the fastest of them all was the final lap to win the scratch race to pick up the gold medal. It certainly goes out to Olivia Wheeler, who went on the attack 5.5 laps from the finish and just couldn't quite hold on. The timing was perfect from Martin Wallace. She looked nervous in the last couple of laps. When the gap started to open up, Martin Wallace really did start to get a little bit more animated towards the front of the peloton. She didn't really want to chase it down and waste all the energy, but she wanted someone to. She wanted the gap to come down. In the end, she had to do it herself in that final sprint.
Well, it's been a brilliant night of racing here for the first session of finals. We've seen some wonderful gold medals. Great to see Matt Glaetzer, 2 gold medals so far. And how about Alexandra Martin Wallace? 3 medals, 3 events, team sprint, the team's pursuit, and now the gold in the scratch race. That's
a lot of talk about
impressive.
her. And just walking around the pits before the racing tonight, and there were a lot of people talking about this young lady, Alexandra Martin Wallace from Queensland, being perhaps the next superstar. And they've now got this facility up here. We keep talking about such a brilliant velodrome built for the Commonwealth Games, the Anna-Meares velodrome here, just down the road from the old Chandler velodrome that I used to race on back in the day. We've now
showing
upgraded.
your age, Scott. Home of the 1982 Commonwealth Games, of course.
But the Commonwealth Games in 82, they built that track. Now they've built this one for the Commonwealth Games this year. So certainly going ahead leaps and bounds up here in Queensland. Track conditions, the weather, all in favour of cycling.
Well, we're looking at the pits now. We can see some of the green and gold jerseys. Winners are grinners. There are the national champions for the evening. It's very similar to the national normal national kit. The differentiating factor is the yellow shoulders. So if you see somebody riding along with that national jersey on and the yellow shoulders, they're a champion, so give them a pat on the back. There was a wonderful story about Steve Wooldridge when he was a world champion in the Teams Pursuit. He was very proud, Scott, so he went out in the local bunch with his world champions jersey on, and he got asked where he bought it. Yeah. No. So if you see somebody riding along in a national champions jersey with the yellow sleeves, give them a pat on the back.
Absolutely.
And ask them what they won.
Well, if they're in the national jersey as well, you know, you can buy that. You can't buy the Australian Champions jersey, but you can buy the national jersey from Santini, Cycling Australia partner. You've got to ask the question. Don't assume that they're not in the national team, because they may very
do
well.
it the other way around.
Absolutely.
Either way, it can be quite embarrassing.
Yeah. Or support a national sponsor in Santini and buy the jersey and get out there. Yeah, I've actually got some new national kit. I had a bit of a pretend race at the Austral Wheel Race in what they call the Legends Kirin. They got a bunch of old has-beens to go and have a bit of a ride around, and I didn't have any kit to wear. I didn't know what I was going to ride in, so Cycling Australia said, hey, how about wear some of this stuff? So I got last year's generation of national team kit. And
Still a bit of pride pulling it on.
I felt happy putting it on, but I still had a few people had a go at me.
Oh.
Took the mickey out of me.
Well, they're not very good sports, are they?
No, they're not.
Well, we've seen some good winners here tonight. We've got a big week ahead of us, though. Tomorrow night, local hero Jordan Kirby is going for the world record. What do you think?
It's pretty clear, isn't it? So he's here to try and win a gold medal in the individual pursuit, but we're all talking about him going for the world record.
Did he say that he would go for it, or have we put that upon him?
I think we've put that on him.
We've put that on him.
He would like to get it, no doubt. But he has been focusing more on the team pursuit to try and get himself into Tim Decker's team pursuit team for the Commonwealth Games. So hasn't been fully focused on the individual pursuit, but just the training, the condition that he's in is so good that there is a very good chance that he can go for the record. And if not the world record, well, he's so close to it, it doesn't matter. He'll get it maybe at the World Championships next year, maybe at the Commonwealth Games he can do it if he's selected. We're not too sure. We don't want to preempt anything too much. But we have had the final event of the first night of competition, and it was the presentation for the women's under-19 7.5 kilometre scratch race.
One of the forefathers of cycling in Australia, Mike Victor, presenting the medals and jerseys.
Sophie Edwards from South Australia picking up the bronze medal. Elizabeth Nussbaum from Victoria coming away with the silver. Very happy as well, as you can see on her face. Mike Victor, the former president of Cycling Australia, doing the presentations once more. And here is Alexandra Martin Wallace, the third medal for tonight, the opening night of competition. Gold medal it is this time. and the jersey to match.
Rising star, this young lady.
Ladies and gentlemen, please ensure your appreciation for our medalists in the U19 Women's Scratch Race Championship.
Future of our sport right here, Scott. In the under-19 women's scratch race. Exciting race. Olivia Wheeler really animated it with that last attack with 5 laps to go. She nearly held on to. She only got caught with a quarter of a lap to go, but the charge from Alexandra Wallace was just too much.
Big smiles from our medalists in the final event of the opening night of competition here at the Annette Velodrome. Cycling Australia Elite and Under-19 National Track Championships. We will catch up with our gold medalist, Alexandra, in just a moment. Nice way to finish the first night of competition with a Queenslander coming away with gold here at the Annette Velodrome.
Are you a Queenslander again now, Scott, or are you saying that
once
for
a
the
Queenslander,
locals?
Victorian. I live in Victoria, so I have to go with that. But we are going to cross down to Alexandra Martin Wallace, who wrapped up the first gold medal for Queensland here tonight, the final event of competition. So let's go down to our young winner.
Alexandra Martin Wallace, an amazing finish and a green and gold jersey on your shoulder. How are you feeling?
I'm really happy. I came second last year, so to go one better, just really stoked about that.
And a home crowd. I mean, the crowd were on their feet cheering the maroon over the line there.
Yeah, it's just amazing to have the crowd come out and cheer us along. It definitely helps so much, and you just really want to win it for the crowd. So it's great, and also having teammates in the race with me, they help so much. So it's just great that we could get the win.
And 3 days left for the championship. What's in store for you?
I got a lot of more races to come. Still got the Pursuit, the Madison, the Sprint, and points race. So just got to recover and keep going.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, a face for the future, a star for the future, perhaps a star of the present, Kate. So Alexandra coming away with 3 medals from the first night of competition, quite fitting for Queensland to come away with a gold at the very last event. But certainly going to be looking out for her in the next couple of years.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't really put enough emphasis on what it means to have this kind of facility in your home state and how motivated that makes athletes. The flow down to participation from the elite is absolutely tremendous. So I think this is the beginning of a new generation for the Queenslanders. Tremendous to win a gold medal in front of a home crowd. And tomorrow night, of course, we're looking to Jordan Kirby to step up in the men's individual pursuit. He's got a little bit of competition though, Scott. It won't be a walk-in.
Well, maybe not a walk-in, but it'll be fairly comfortable.
Oh, you're comfortable. Okay.
Well, he's up against the bronze medalist from last year at the World Championships,
Kell
O'Brien, so he'll step up as well. But really, it is all about the Queenslander in Jordan Kirby in terms of the individual pursuit. Plenty of other events. Matthew Glaetzer will be back out in the sprint events as well, so still plenty to do. That is the end of competition for the first day here at the Annette Velodrome, the first of 4 days of competition at the Cycling Australia Elite and Under-19 Australian Track Championships. Kate, thanks for joining me tonight. It's been great so far.
Oh, my pleasure. We'll be back tomorrow night.
Looking forward to that. We'll see you tomorrow night. We're going to leave you with another lovely piece from our partner in crime here at the National Championships, Let's Go Motorhomes. And we'll just find out where things are at. And it's the best way to get around Australia and ride your bike. Get yourself a motorhome. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Bye.
As a family, we really do enjoy getting ourselves up here to the Alpine region and just coming together. It really is an opportunity to slow down and forget about racing and just come together as a family and enjoy the great outdoors and riding bikes.
For me, I've just got a beautiful feeling here. There's something that just resonates with me. I just feel peaceful. As soon as we drive into Bright, it's just relaxes me, and we're also busy at home all the time, but when we're here, we completely wind down. We actually, as a family, call it our happy place.
The Sydney Olympics were such a long time ago, but in some ways it seems like it was only a couple of weeks ago. Yet it was somewhat tainted because we had some personal issues in the lead up to it by losing our newborn son, which made it very, very difficult in the lead up to the Games. So there were real highs and lows around winning in Sydney. It was amazing to win, but it was also a very heartbreaking moment to have lost the child in the lead up to. A family that rides together stays together. Unless when
Stop that. That's really corny. Don't say that.
All right.
So I'm hooked on the convenience of the motorhome now. The fact that you can just pack your clothes straight into the cupboards from home, put everything in there, you're set. So when you get to your destination, you just jump into bed, go to sleep, everything's there, get up. There's no unpacking your clothes into the cupboards. Then if you just want to go somewhere during the day, you just take off in the motorhome and come back. There's not a lot of having to lock stuff down. Everything is stored in a way that it doesn't move around.
If I was to give some advice to people looking to go out and explore on the bike, you know, around Victoria, there are so many rail trails that are out there, which is just a perfect introduction to families in particular. And I've seen it over the years when people dip their toe into the water of cycling and do it at a low-key level in a very easy way on the rail trails. So look, I think something like the use of a motorhome is the absolute very best. I think that's the ultimate way to explore the rail trails and the roads of Victoria and the rest of Australia as well.